Okay, so I got some explaining to do. What those comments have in common is that they're all requesting a certain figure. And this isn't me complaining. Believe me, I really appreciate the fact that these people actually want me to review certain figures. So keep those requests coming. I really appreciate it. But enough beating around the bush. It's time to talk about the figure that I've been receiving multiple requests to review. I'm of course talking about the CT Toys Mafex 185 Classic Spider-Man. And I said multiple times that I really don't want to review this figure. And why, you may ask? Well, the answer is simple. I already own the official one. I've owned this figure for almost 2 years now. And is it cool that there's a higher quality bootleg of this figure out there for people who can't afford it? Absolutely. I think it's great. But I really do not see the point in me grabbing a bootleg of a figure that I already own. You know what I'm saying? So here's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna review the official Mafex 185 Classic Spider-Man. But I did reach out to somebody who does own the CT version. So I asked him to send a couple of clips of him talking about it to see if you should grab it yourself. Sound fair? Alright, bet. Now, without any more stalling, please welcome to review the CT Mafex, Arachnid Youth.
My fellow Fig content creator, Andrew, came to me with a proposal of a collaboration. I of course turned him down because yada yada, I work alone. But then he said the magic words that would spur any man to action.
I have 2 tickets to an early screening of Zootopia 2.
Shit, Negro, that's all you had to say.
I got the CT-185 purely off of impulse, and I didn't want my comic miles to be alone. Because surely the overabundance of Peter figures, along with a Spider-Gwen, couldn't have possibly kept him enough company. Personally, I gotta say, this has gotta be CT Toys' best work yet. With each release, I've said this before, with each release, CT Toys seems to get better, better, and better. He's sturdy, fun to play with, no really major paint defects like with Miles, and still retains full posability. He comes with all the accessories his official counterpart has, though the only notable accessories that are missing are the unmaxed accessories, and to be fair, they didn't come with the original 185 anyways. And that doesn't really bother me all that much. 9 times out of 10, I'm not really going to pose my figures with their unmasked heads, unless I'm taking pictures specifically for Instagram, so it's not the biggest issue in the world. But you are probably wondering, what's the catch? There's got to be something wrong with the figure. Well, he's short. I know CT Toys figures are always noticeably short. We all know the CT figures are especially shorter than the originals, but it feels like it's a lot worse this time around. For comparison, here's them side by side from Venomous Collector. And here's another odd thing I want to include. Here he is side by side with the CT Mafex Symbiote Spider-Man. Why is the CT 185 shorter than the black suit CT? This feels weird. Now, of course, it doesn't really bother me all that much, because once you start posing them around, that size difference kind of just disappears. Plus, I could just pop a whole new head on him and boom, a whole different Spider-Man. I am thinking of getting the 90s or possibly Scott Johnson head, or if I really want to be peak. For the future, I hope CT does more repaints with this figure. I am aware they're doing Webman repaints, but I'm not getting that because I'm not a big Webman fan. I know. I see you hovering over the unsubscribe button from my channel. Don't you dare. But I hope they do a more richer, darker recolor with more richer reds and blues, because this figure is honestly really good. And even with the whole size difference thing, it's not really that noticeable when you put him against other figures. For example, here he is next to my very first Mafex bootleg, the original comic color Spidey. Yeah, this man's seen better days. Another example, here he is next to the SH Figuarts Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. And the SH Figuarts is like slightly taller, so that's not so bad. And also, finally, here's my official Mafex Venom. Yes, this is the official one, not the KO. They scale pretty well together, and it makes Venom look a bit more imposed over Spider-Man, which I actually do like that. But if you want my humble, honest opinion on whether or not you should get this KO, if you can't afford the 185, Yeah, I think you should get it. Yeah, I recommend you get this figure. And for those wondering if I'm going to review this on my own channel, guess what? This is the review, basically. There's not really much to say that I haven't said already about the other CT clones. Like, this figure is really good. I highly suggest you get it. Anyways, back to you, Andrew, and thank you for having me on.
Thank you so much, Arachnid Youth, for coming on. I really appreciate it. And now I guess it's time to talk about the official one. As you can see, I have a screenshot of the box here from my Instagram story because I don't have the actual box anymore because I threw it out. Because I'm not a goddamn min and boss collector. Like a fucking nerd. And here we have the actual figure in person. And do I really need to explain myself here? Like, this figure just looks absolutely beautiful. Like, the Mafex 75 Spider-Man looks good, but I wasn't really a fan of the darker colors, so I'm really happy that there's a lighter color version out there. But how well can this guy pose? Let's take a look and find out.
You're too late, Spider-Man! Weed has been legalized!
But you're the one getting smoked, Gummy!
This is a Mafex, so he's got double jointed elbows along with a upper arm cut and a wrist hinge. He also has a butterfly joint, so you can get some really good range from crossing his arms. He also has two ball joints in the neck and head, so you can make him look up really well and make him look down really well. He also can crunch forward, and he can surprisingly crunch back pretty good as well. He kicks forward, and obviously you can bend the knee with a double joint, and there's a foot hinge along with a toe joint.
So, you'll rob the piggy bank, but won't touch the cookie jar. Wow, you must qualify for Nephew of the Year. Twisted Division.
And now we're moving on to accessories. Here he has some fists. Here he has some wall-crawling hands. Here he has some magnetic wall-crawling hands. And here he has some plain and magnetic feet. And he has some web-holding hands, which I could not find both of them. I am so pissed off about that. But obviously, you can use it to make them swing with webs. And speaking of the other webs, here we have an open web. And we have 4 pairs of shooting webs here. We have 2 big ones and 2 small ones. And he also has a pair of relaxed hands. I can only find one of them, so that's kind of a bummer. But that may leave you with the question. Does that mean he gets to hold the removed mask accessory and an unmasked head? Well, the answer is simple. No. But like Arachnid Youth said, both versions come like that. He does come with 2 masked heads. There's a standard expression and a very pissed off expression. Both head sculpts are good, but I wanted to make an upgrade to this figure, so I just bought a custom-made head from Ferrule. Now, if you've seen my review on this head sculpt before, you already know my thoughts on this figure. But, to give you a TLDR, I love this thing to death. Now, we don't have a lot to compare this figure with today, but let's dive into the comparisons anyway, shall we? Anyways, here's the Mafex 185 Classic Spider-Man with the Mafex Black Suit Spider-Man. These two just look amazing together, although I had to get a custom head for the black suit soon. Here he is next to my bootleg Mafex Venom, my CT Toys Mafex Miles Morales, and here he is next to my Mafex bootleg Deadpool, and finally here he is next to Gwen Stacy. Oh god, not again!
In Manhattan, or all 5? Nah. Sorry, I make it a rule not to partner with anyone green. Or, you know, psychotic.
So, when the smoke clears and the dust settles, what do I think of this figure at the end of the day? Well, if you haven't been able to tell already, I absolutely love this figure. Everything about it to me is perfect. The paint, the sculpt, the articulation, everything about this figure is what every single Spider-Man figure should try to copy from. He's honestly my favorite action figure in my collection and probably my favorite action figure of all time. Like, I just absolutely love this action figure so much. And I'd once again like to thank Arachnid Youth for hopping onto this video to talk about the CT figure, since I know a lot of you guys really wanted me to talk about the CT figure. But since I don't own it, I thought I'd message him to see if he could talk about it since he owns it. So once again, Arachnid Youth, thank you so much for hopping on and helping me out with talking about the CT Toys figure. You really didn't have to help me, but I'm really happy that you did. I'm really hoping to collab with you once again in the future, so guys, please do me a favor and go subscribe to his channel. And I also hope to collaborate with other figure content creators on the platform soon. And my final verdict on this Mafex 185 Classic Spider-Man is a 10 out of 10.